This is Afternoon Sports Slay with the Queen, Micah K. Now remember, I'm doing this for the love of the game. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like and definitely hit that notification bell. Make sure you are sharing and commenting, all right? Now, this is Basketball Wine Wednesdays, and this edition is going to be called Detroit versus JalenGreen. Now, if you are tapped into Detroit, you know about Detroit versus everybody. That's why I named it Detroit versus JalenGreen. Now, remember, it's been a lot of things going on in the basketball world. Now, this is going to be like Micah's moment to moments because I'm going to share certain tweets that stood out to me with this incident. All right, now let's get into it. Now, before we get started, I'm not going to cover a lot about, JalenGreen as far as like just, bio. If you are really tapped into the Queen's channel, I did a NBA draft top 5 analysis on the top 5 draft picks, and I shared my thoughts and analysis on JalenGreen. So if you are not as familiar with JalenGreen, make sure to go check that out. Matter of fact, go check that out first, then come back and watch this. And listen, that's why you got to pay attention to the Queen's channel and the information the Queen is giving, because you never know, certain information will be connected with other information, okay? Tap in like I tell you. Now let's get started with the first tweet. The first tweet is from Philip Lewis. His Twitter handle is @PhilipLewis. Let's get into a little bit of his bio. I like to share that. Bio info says Detroit native, senior front page editor at HuffPost. Okay, now let's get into what he says before the quoted tweet. It says, "I am totally confused by JalenGreen's comments about Detroit. These stories are barely a month apart." I'm confused as well too. Let me tell you a little bit, so somebody might come on the not come, but see the Queen's Twitter at MK Sports Slay. Okay, and I did. I was like, okay, I really like JalenGreen. I was like, man, he likes Detroit. It's okay if we don't choose Cade. I don't mind Green coming to, Detroit. And I did say he has the juice. What does the juice mean? I've said basically when the Queen sometimes says that person has juice, they have the complete total package. He was nice on the eyes, ladies. All right. Listen, I'm saying that in a respectful way. I'm married, but listen, my husband sees certain people he know who look good too, who find the ladies or whatever. So you still have eyes. I'm still a human being. It's just all about being respectful, because I don't want nobody to say, oh, Micah said da-da-da-da. People can be petty and messy over little things, all right? But what I'm saying is, yes, he had the juice. Even the other women was talking about it. He had the 70s type of look. He just was, looking nice. I might not care for all his fashion choices, certain things that I might see from his photos, but that on draft night, he looked it really nice. And I'm thinking, okay, JalenGreen, listen, if we don't, so I didn't know that this was going to come about. So I'm just telling you guys a little breakdown, and I'm agreeing with Philip. Let's get a little bit into the quote, okay? It says, I'm not going to read everything. I'm going to read a couple parts of it. And listen, it was small, so I don't know why when I was typing this stuff and copying, I didn't make it bigger. But let's get into it. It says, number 1 pick, he tells me, that would be a dream come true. I ain't going to lie. That happens, I'm going to have a breakdown. He laughs, and naturally he has a preference in mind. I want to live in Detroit. He feels that spot is important to his journey, a reward for his endurance. When I asked him as dinner ends what he wants out of his career, he offers a singular ambition. I want my respect, Jalen tells me, and then he continues. Now let's transition over. So it seems like Green is being a little wishy-washy. Are you being wishy-washy, Green? Okay, let's see. Now, he says, I wanted to be the number 1 pick, but it's for the location. I didn't want to be in Detroit. Green told Yahoo Sports, I felt a lot more comfortable in Houston. It felt like a real homey environment. With Detroit, it felt like I was just going back to the G League bubble, and I just got out of the bubble. That pretty much was, that's pretty much what it was. In the G League bubble, I didn't really have anything to do but just stay in the gym. I didn't have any time to get away from myself. The only time I had to get away from myself was in my apartment. That's what I felt like in Detroit. I wouldn't be stepping outside in Detroit. There are not many things you can do in Detroit like that. Ooh-wee. You're going to stay in the gym, then go back to your apartment, okay? Listen, let's take a sip really quickly before we get into some other things. Just learning to let you guys know, all my slayers and slayettes, and I know I have young and old supporters. Let me tell you, it's going to be a little cussing in this segment. This segment is not for children. The other tweets that I'm about to read, I'm letting you know it's not coming from my words. It's coming from the tweets that I'm about to read. But before we get into it, let's take a sip. You know, the queen is still sipping on water. You know, she's on her healthy kick. I'm on my healthy kick. Okay, you know, but the queen about to really turn up. The birthday coming, Labor Day weekend is coming, so you know the queen gonna make it do what it do. Now, I'm not gonna be crazy, you know, I am going to drink responsibly, but you know the queen gonna have some sippy sips. So I'm just trying to wait and get it together because I really have not had a lot of sugar or anything like that. So I'm about to have some cheat days really soon, okay? But for all my wine drinkers who still drinking and watching the show, listen, sip for me while I sip this water. Go ahead and sip the wine real quick. Why not? Okay, let's get into the spicy tweets. Now, this next tweet is from Jobs, all right? Remember, I said it's going to be a little cussing, okay? Jobs at Steez_Jobs, all right? This is his Twitter. His bio says prone to violence, corner store goods, okay? Apples by Steve Jobs. Then I believe he has his fraternity symbol on there. And then he has a few other things. Now, let's get into his first tweet. He says, regular Detroit niggas really go to different cities and look like celebs. Shit, in the early 2000s, 2 Detroit niggas went to Atlanta and started an empire. Now, if you know, you know. If you really tapped in, especially the early hip-hop generation, I'm talking about like the Jay-Z's and the Biggies. If you around that 40 to 50 age, you really tapped in. You really understand what he's talking about. Then transition over to like the early 90s babies like myself. You still tapped in somewhat. You might not know as much, but you tapped in. Especially just being from Detroit. This is something that you should know, okay? Especially if you got, you know, certain people in your family, okay, growing up in the city of Detroit. Now, let's get into his second tweet. I can tell when a person never been to Detroit because the first thing they say is the residents poor. We a hustling ass city filled with high standards. I agree. Detroit has some of the greatest hustlers ever. That is facts, okay? You get called poor here for actually having shit. Then he has the laughing emoji, all right? That tweet stood out to me. Yes, it did. Now, not perfect, but damn near, all right, at Early Mac. This is another tweet, and that's with 2 L's. And then his bio, his IG says at Early Mac, and he's from Detroit. Let's get into his tweet. It says, if you black in America, Detroit is a place you definitely should visit or have friends, all right? I agree with that statement. Now, let's transition over to 2 other tweets, then we'll be done, all right? Now, 23rd at Marlin 23rd, his bio says this is God-given. All I gotta do is show up, all right? And then it says 23rd at platterboys.com, and then it says he's from Detroit. Now, the first tweet says, y'all hate on Detroit, then copy our culture. Let me say that again. Y'all hate on Detroit, then copy our culture. I definitely agree with that. This is such an accurate tweet to me because when you travel, pay attention, especially like I said, if you real big into hip hop, and then there's certain people who are very street people, hood people, you know, we speaking to all different demographics. For this might not be, you know, your cup of tea for certain people, but for certain people it is, okay? Now, especially in the hip hop community, say whatever you want. Detroit is known to me for having some of the best fashion ever, okay? Prime example, Cartier sunglasses, also known, you know, Detroit people call it Cardis, or you hear people say buffs. That's Detroit, okay? That's Detroit fashion. Now, also like slang as far as what up though, you would be so surprised if you travel and you say that, or you talking to people, they don't know like what up though. Okay, that's something that Detroiters say, or that came from Detroit. You know, they act shocked with that. And they never give us our credit, okay? A lot of people don't give the Detroit its credit that it deserves. All right. That is why you have to respect the #1 pick now, K, because listen, he showed Detroit is proper respect, and love. And I know some people gonna say, especially with the buff situation, it has had a lot of negativity, but we just talking about the positivity as far as with the fashion and the look of everything. We focus on the positive, not the negative aspect of it, okay? Now let's get into the last tweet from @Marlon23rd. All right, he says, need that BMF series to drop so y'all can stop bringing up 8 Mile. I agree. I went to college. My first year of college was in Ohio. That ain't nothing but a few hours away from Detroit, Cleveland State. And guess what? They used to bring that up to me. And what else did they used to say? Who remembers the song that, said, it's so cold in the D? I know I sound terrible. Oh my God. And I've been talking. Let me take another sip of water before we continue. Sip the wine, slayers and slayers. Sip the wine. Now, who remembers that? They try to bring up stuff that is not, like, oh, y'all had this and that. They sometimes, especially with certain people, they try to belittle because Detroit has such a great, rich history. That's why I might have to do a part 2 with this because and that's not to say Detroit doesn't have its problems and its negative effects, but being from Detroit, you do have to have thick skin. And I really feel like if you grew up in Detroit, listen, you from Detroit, you can make it anywhere. I know they say that about New York, but I really truly believe that with Detroit as well. And what I want to do too is just address the great things that have came from Detroit and spread that positivity, especially in particular with music, with Motown. Okay, listen. You talking about music, you talking about fashion, with politics, listen, sports. Oh my goodness, we just don't get our just due the way we should. And that's why Detroit has to make sure, in particular with that black community, we have to stay more unified and spread more love and positivity. That's what I'm all about. Now, y'all gotta go check out JalenGreen's last few tweets too. Now, I'm not sharing it. That's for y'all. If y'all want to go see that, go look it out. I've already seen it. Slayers and slayers. If you really tapped into this situation, you want to hear some more juice or see some more juice, go look at JalenGreen's tweets. His last few tweets he's tweeted over the last few days. He has a Deion Sanders shirt on. Shares a quote with what Deion says. Plus, a part of the quoted tweet says, chess, not checkers. Now, how Green was acting and what he said, do you feel like he was being strategic this whole time, slayers and slayers? Let me know how you feel about that. Also, did you see how it got spicy? And it kind of has lingered on. It's been Detroit Twitter versus Houston Twitter, okay? Have you been paying attention to that? Because it's been a little juice with that as well, okay? Now, go check out JalenGreen's tweets. Go see what, the people from Detroit saying. See what the people from Houston saying now. And if you want to learn more about the JalenGreen situation, make sure you tap into Chris Haynes' article, okay, on Yahoo Sports about what everything that JalenGreen said, because you want to be able to assess the whole situation and really understand it from your perspective. Because a lot of times people don't read full articles, they don't watch full videos, they just make an opinion. The world we live in now, they're not really doing no research and they just jump to conclusions. So I will urge you, pay attention to the queen, the valuable information that I give out to you, and also do the research for yourself so you can really form your own opinion about this situation, okay? And I'm always the type of person that tries to be very well balanced to see everybody's perspective before I form my own. All right, now I'm here to report to the people. I'm here for you, afternoon sports slay. All right, I'm on the job. Remember, I'm doing this for the love of the game. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell. It is so much more on the way, and it's the Queen Micah K.